Now, you talked about the seismic shift. There's a world shift in terms of power. Let's show the graphics that you prepared. All right, can we show this so you can explain?
Right. So, well, one is the ebbs and flows of power.
Okay, let's have the first one.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that since 1950s, the United States has been the biggest economy in the world, but that's going to shift by 2020 and 2030 as China becomes the biggest, will have the biggest share of GDP in the world.
All right,
well,
this one, let's talk about this.
That's the U.S. Security Assistant to Southeast Asia, so you can see that the size of the circle corresponds to the volume or the amount of military financing that the country gets. So Philippines is red. So you can see how big the red circle is. So we are the biggest recipients of American foreign military financing in the region. While it's small compared to what Pakistan, Egypt, and other countries have been getting, by regional standards, we are the American favorite. And that amount is actually going to be doubling because that's 2015.
But do you think that will change after Donald Trump?
Well, this is the problem I see with Donald Trump presidency.
Because the first thing he's done is also reach out to China.
Well, the thing is this, his priority when it comes to Asia is more or less to rebalance trade and investment relations with China. Now, an art of the deal Donald Trump might do this. This is one concern. He might say to China that I'm willing to make concessions in the South China Sea. I will not bulk up my military presence. I will not give more assistance to the allies. In exchange, give more access to my businessmen, to my exporters, to your market, and let's sign a new agreement that allows for the United States to cut its trade deficit. So you may see a Donald Trump who will prioritize economic matters because he said he wants to make America great again, and that means bringing back jobs to a lot of Americans who have lost during the globalization era. So China, who may consider South China Sea as a more core interest, they may be willing to give certain concessions to America or step up their purchase of American products like Boeing airplane, for instance, aircrafts, or more American cars, among others. So one concern is even the art of the deal pragmatic Donald Trump may actually come at the expense of smaller allies. And remember, Donald Trump consistently during the campaign period, in fact, during the last 3 decades, has said that America's trouble is that it has free-riding allies. Allies should take care of themselves. If South Korea and Japan want more assistance, they have to pay us more. Or they have to take care of themselves and get their own nuclear weapons. If that's what he's saying about Japan and Korea, who are paying...
What more us?
What more us, who are not giving anywhere near as much strategic rents in exchange. I think Japan pays around $1 billion, hundreds of millions of dollars for South Korea. We don't pay anything. So you can expect that a part of Donald Trump will say, maybe countries like the Philippines are more liability. Now, the other Donald Trump, the more bully aggressive one, will also be a concern. Because in order to show toughness, he might actually accelerate American military presence to gain leverage with China on economic issues. But the problem with Donald Trump is that we have no record of him dealing with high-stakes diplomacy. And we know he's quite a trigger-happy person and he's a prickly person. So we're not sure how much he can contain a potential escalation with China if he actually steps up the military presence of U.S. in the region.
But it seems to me that his priority would really be jobs.
Yes, jobs.
I mean,
and that's why trade and investment relations with China come first. So now China will leverage its economic prowess, and that's where he could get concessions on geopolitical factors. The other concern for me is this. His National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, his incoming CIA Chief, Representative Pompeo, these people are known to be more tough on war on terror. So some are worrying that Asia could be sacrificed under Donald Trump presidency because he might pivot back to the Bush era of global war on terror. In fact, Michael Flynn, the incoming National Security Advisor, said that the #1 problem for the U.S. right now is Islamic radicalism. And this is like this threat that U.S. faced during the Second World War, like Nazism. So if that's your rhetoric and that's your track record, for sure he's going to advise Donald Trump to be more focusing on the Middle East, defeating the ISIS, probably tearing apart the nuclear deal with Iran. So there's also a probability that we'll have a distracted Trump administration that is, one, focused more on domestic jobs and dealing with China on economic terms, and second, on dealing with extremism and terrorism in the Middle East. So we could be one of those countries that may not benefit out of it.